know, number one, that your anxiety is normal. It's totally normal. And even if it wasn't during this time of a pandemic, your anxiety would still be normal. Everybody experiences it at some point in their life. Also, it's automatic. So your anxiety is triggered by your brain. It's brain generated activity. Your brain's job, and the only job of your brain, is to keep the thing it's a brain of alive. That's you. Anxiety is triggered. It's a normal response to stress, to threat. It's there for a reason. It's designed to keep you safe. It's designed to make sure you can continue in existence, that you can continue to be a part of your everyday life. So know that you came by it naturally. There's nothing wrong with your anxiety. In fact, you don't want it to go away because you want it to be able to help you determine the threat. I have smoke detectors in my house. I don't want to get rid of my smoke detectors. You know, if the other day I was making a piece of toast and a piece fell off and started burning in the toaster oven, my smoke alarm went off. I want that smoke alarm to go off to let me know that I'm potentially in danger. Your anxiety is brain generated activity, and it's not real. It's simply thoughts you're having to predict the sense of threat, and the thoughts are trying to predict something you think might happen. The quicker you can distinguish your emotions as themselves, separate from what's really going on with you, will be the more and more power you will have to create who you're going to be in that moment, instead of living in a massive reaction.
It's possible that I get sick, but that possibility is even giving me anxiety.
Yeah. Is it inevitable you're going to get sick? Is everybody in the US going to get sick? Is it inevitable?
No.
No. That's the distinction, Frank. It's not inevitable you're going to get sick. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible any one of us on this call could get sick. But it's not inevitable. Now, if it's possible and you let that anxiety overtake you, what happens? We get frozen. We get caught up in our thoughts. We don't think clearly, right? That's one way we could respond to something like that. Before this whole thing started, right? And you are eating what's good for your body, and you're taking walks, and you're exercising, and you're sleeping well, and you're going to the doctor to tell you about things that maybe you didn't know about. Could you have gotten sick anyway?
Yes.
Right? How many people do we know that came down with cancer that were perfectly healthy? My mom died of ovarian cancer. She was a vegetarian. You know, she didn't eat sugar. I mean, all the things, and there she gets cancer. It happens all the time to people. And so now, and you weren't walking around in a high anxiety of whether you were going to get sick, because you know you had control to do all the things you need to do to stay healthy. Yeah?
Right.
Okay, beautiful. Now you're doing all the things you know to do, including sheltering in place to stay healthy. Yeah?
Yes.
So what's the difference?
There isn't really.
Right?
I may have a goal, and what ends up happening is that when my anxiety takes over and I fall away from the goal,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes me down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
The anxiety takes me down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to then get really hard on myself for falling down, and for the amount of time I was down. And then I'm not kind to myself when it's putting myself back from the gap of the momentum.
Yes.
I built.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
So does that, I just kind of wanted to speak to that.
No, I'm sure other people could raise their hand and say, same thing happens to me. When I get anxious, I fall down the hole, and then I beat myself up for falling down the hole because I know that I'm committed to something, da 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 da. Mm-hmm. Now, that moment where you beat yourself up that you're speaking to, if that were me and I was anxious about something, or your best friend, we're close friends, but somebody else, your daughter, if she was anxious about something and was beating herself up about it, say taking a test, or worried about something and she was beating herself up or another friend was beating themselves up, what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's easy when you take it out of yourself, right?
It's so interesting because the stuff we say to ourselves, we would never say to anybody else we loved out loud. We just wouldn't. Treat yourself like you would treat a loved one, somebody you truly cared about, and give yourself that same compassion and commitment to your greatness that you would to anybody else in your life.